All right, so in this particular type of problem, it asks you to find or identify whether you have a minimum or maximum value and then identify that. Okay, so min or max. And you can tell that simply by determining whether this graph opens up or down. Since it has a negative in front, it's going to open how? It opens down, it's reflected. So the vertex is going to be a maximum. So you have a maximum point. Okay, the next they ask you to find its value. So the maximum value is going to be the y-coordinate of the vertex. Okay, so you have a couple different options right here. Okay, one, you could enter this on your calculator. Okay, enter it in the y-editor. So if we type this whole function in, -1/4 x squared minus 7x plus 2. Hit enter, we can go view this. Again, making sure our viewing window fits the right parameters. And so notice in this particular case, I don't see where my vertex is located. Okay, so what you might need to do on something like this is zoom out. And you can change your window settings a couple different ways. And one, you can manually go in and you can change them. Or if you go to your graphing window, you can go to this F2 and zoom. Often what can happen is if you choose where it says zoom fit, okay, I'm not going to explain this again, so hopefully you're following along, okay, and hit enter, it'll adjust the viewing window for you, and then you can possibly see the graph a little bit more clearly. Okay, so here, even though it didn't give me all of the vertex, I can assume my vertex is probably going to be right over here. Okay, so what now I can do is go into my normal window and I can adjust that a little bit. So I need to go further to the left. So I'm going to go ahead and just do -50 to exaggerate that. And my maximum says 47, but once again, I'm going to exaggerate it and go a little bit beyond that. And so the minimum doesn't really matter because I saw that my graph continues to go down. But if I change my window settings to that, I can now find my vertex. And so if I wanted to use the graphing utility to find this maximum value, I'd simply go to the Math tab, F5, choose maximum. My lower bound needs to be to the left of this, which it is. My upper bound to the right. Hit enter. Okay, and so it tells me here my vertex is the point -1451. Okay, so the value that I'm looking for is the y value. So 51 would be your answer for that. And now there's another way that you can do this, and especially if you didn't follow the whole progression of changing the window settings on your graph, and that is if all you need to do is find information relating to the vertex. So it might just be find the vertex, it might be find the minimum or maximum point, what you're going to see in the next section too. It might say find the optimal price or whatever. You could just find the vertex using -b/2a. So in this particular problem, we could have taken this information. This is the x-coordinate of our vertex. And we could find that we take -b, our b value is -7, over 2 times our a value is -1/4. And so if we look at this, the negatives cancel. Here, this 2 and this 4 cancel into a 1/2. And when you divide by 1/2, it's equivalent to multiplying by the reciprocal, 2/1. So you get -14 for your x-coordinate, which we see right here. And then to find the actual answer for this, it's the y-coordinate of your vertex. And the way that you find that is you take your function, -1/4 x squared minus 7x plus 2. And if you want to use your calculator, you can use the with key and just substitute in a -14 for x, and that's going to give you your value. So if I go back to my home screen, enter my equation exactly as it appears, -1/4, or actually I have this in my y editor right now, but if I didn't put it in the editor, You could enter it on your calculator, use the with key, and say x is equal to negative 14, and this is going to give you your corresponding y value, which is 51. Okay, so those are the two kind of options you have for solving those types of problems. All right. Other questions from the homework that you'd like to see explained? Emma?
Just on the bottom part of when you're finding the axis of symmetry, could you just make that clear, like under the 7?
Wait.
Like
Wait, right here?
Yeah.
So what I did is I took this equation right here. So I took negative b over 2a, substituted in the values for that. So here's my a is negative 1/4, my b is negative 7, and my c, if I needed it, would be 2. So I took negative and negative 7 over 2 times the negative 1/4. So these cancel. I'm left with just a 7 here. The 2 reduces, leaving a negative 1/2 in the denominator. And when you divide by a fraction, it's equivalent to multiplying by the reciprocal. So negative 2 over 1. So you just flip that fraction and then multiply across the top to get the 14.